we will go from there.
Okay.
So I will try to get done here in an hour so that everybody can get to the class at 11 or watch it. Okay. Is there any way, Donna, you could send me a link to your training calendar so that I can kind of see what's coming up and be able to say, hey, this is a great class. Why don't you go to this?
I'm sure I can send you the monthly calendar, which that should be done hopefully within the next day or so.
Okay.
I'm trying to complete and stuff.
Awesome.
So I'll just email it to you because you're not on any of the KW tools, right? You're
Yeah,
not onto the, oh, you are? Okay, so you can access it in the intranet training calendar. You know how to do that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I didn't know if you guys use that, so I'll double check there.
Yep, we're using that for now.
Okay.
It's not completely updated. That's what I'm going back and working on.
Perfect. Perfect. That'll just give me an idea what's coming up, and I can share with the agents what, you know.
Yes, because this month is business planning month. Yep. And they'll be having a lot of, there's like a CMA class coming up this Thursday that Lynn Garcia is doing. And Martin, our MCA, is going to be doing a budgeting class, I think mid-month and stuff.
Awesome.
So
that is great. I love it. Okay, well, I'll let you get back to work. We will move forward here.
And are these, so some of them asked me also if the call is recorded, so that.
I am recording this week because I knew there were a lot out on holiday, so we will be.
Right, okay, great, good. All right, thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Tana.
Oh, here comes Janet.
Oh, great. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, so you can sit here, Janet.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well.
That's good.
Okay. All right.
So am I the only one on the call?
Nope. We have Danielle and Meralda's here. So. Good. And I'm recording for those who have their holiday today. So we're going to carry on. I am going to attempt to get done by 11 o'clock your time because I know there's a command class and I want you guys to be able to get into those. So since there's not as many of us, it shouldn't take very long. So tell us what you did to your finger, Donna. I mean, Janet.
I had a knife in the sink that was very sharp, and I reached in to get the sponge, and it got me.
Oh no.
Yes. So.
Yikes. Well, hopefully no permanent damage was done.
No, I have to see a hand specialist on Friday, so we'll see. Hopefully nothing major.
Okay. All righty. Well, we'll be thinking about you. Those dang knives in the sinks happens every time.
I
know. Awesome, you guys. Since you no one new has joined us, I don't need to go into introductions or anything like that. Let's see. Core, I believe we have solved our core issue, and I appreciate your guys' patience with that. So I sent out emails again to have you go reset that up, and hopefully you're able to get in and get that done. Let's see here. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's see. Did anybody do tracking either on paper or put it into your core for 5 days this week? Anyone?
I was able to add 2 contacts in core, but that was it.
In command, you added 2?
Yes.
Okay. So we added some in. All right. How about, I only saw 2 people had done their week in review. So I'm going to show you, just remind you where that is when you're logged in as an agent. Let me get out of my coach screen and get into my agent screen. Okay, and then let me share that. Okay, here is your screen as an agent, and you would go into your success tracker. And this is where you're going to do your daily entry and then also your week in review. Again, this just helps me and then your coach moving forward to work with you and kind of see where you feel you're at, where your focus is, you think, go from there. So it really helps us coach you at a high level when you do your week in review. And would love to have that done by Monday at 9 a.m. so that I can review that. Awesome. Okay. Stop share. Let me just take a look here. Did anyone do a role play? We were going to role play buyer agent, buyer presentation, buyer consultation. Did anyone find a partner and do that? Or do it with your significant other or kids or anybody?
I did it with my significant other.
Awesome.
He laughed at me the whole time.
Okay, so what was he what was he laughing about?
I think just because he doesn't see me in a professional role ever.
He doesn't think what?
He hasn't really seen me in a professional role.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about that. So he hasn't seen you in a professional role. So
Yeah.
Do you think there's other people that don't see you in a professional role as well?
No, I've actually I've closed a buyer already.
Okay. But I mean, like in your sphere, like your people, your closest circle.
No, my husband never saw me at work, so he doesn't know that side of me.
Ooh, I love it. He's going to get to see a whole new side.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How fun is that?
Yeah, he definitely notices I'm a hard worker.
Good. So we might have a little bit of reality setting in here. That's very cool. I love it. I love it. Okay, so what else is on my checklist here? Buyer packets. Did we all get some buyer packets started or put together?
I did, yes.
Janet did. Perfect.
I emailed you mine.
You did. Awesome. So this is the accountability part of coaching, right? And then Danielle, you said you got 2 contacts added into Command.
Yes.
And Janet, how many did you add?
I added 2 also.
Okay. All righty. 2's better than 0, right? So we're 2 ahead from where we were last week. So good job. All right. Anything come up as you were thinking through buyers, what that looks like? Anything you thought of that, hey, this might be cool in my packet? Anything you added, tweaked? Because again, this is yours. You don't have to do exactly what I do. I just gave you some ideas. You want to come up with anything? Okay. I'm going to show you one more thing, a couple things in Core before I hit into our content here. So in your toolkit in Core, if you go to Buyer Docs, there's some really good needs analysis in here. There is a customizable buyer packet. There's packets in Command. They're everywhere. So do what whatever you want to do. I think Danielle, the one from Command.
What's that?
Did you use the buyer packet from Command?
No, I created mine with different sheets I had in .loop and with the help of a fellow agent.
Perfect. I love it. See, you can do whatever you want. Just have something, right? This buyer lead sheet is pretty cool. So has some questions here that you can ask them up front. Do you guys have what we call like board duty, floor duty, phone duty at your office where if someone calls in, there's someone on call to take that call?
We had it at my old location. It was called Uptime.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so I always printed off some of these so that when someone called in, if they were a buyer, I could, kind of get to the point with them and yada, yada. So some really, really cool documents in here, as well as for sellers. So the seller lead sheet and the listing prep checklist. So I'm going to pull that up because that's what we're talking about today. And the first thing I like to do with my sellers is pre-qual them. And what I mean by pre-qual is get information from them. This is different than like a lender pre-qual, right? That's not what I'm referring to here. So looking at kind of how do we pre-qual them? What does that look like? And what questions do we ask them? And what do you think some really good questions are to ask a seller up front?
If someone came and bought your house, would you have a place to go right away?
I love that. That's a great question, because what if they don't? What happens then? We don't know, right?
Right.
Perfect. So what if somebody, you know, we put your house on the market today and we get an offer today, let's say, and they want to close in 30 days. What does that look like for you, Mr. Seller? Do you have a place to go? Can you put things in, you know, pods or storage that they come pick up? You know, what does that look like? That's a great question, Janet, because we need to make sure we know if they have a plan to be out of that house when a buyer needs them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Great question. What else? I'm going to bring up a sheet. But how long have you owned this home? Right? You may be able to do some of this research up front. I don't know if you have public tax records or things like that that shows you how long they've owned it, when they bought it, things, how much they bought it for, things like that. Our tax records here in the Kansas area, from our county recording, they show us this information. So you may need to ask them, or you may be able to find it up front. Obviously, some motivational questions. Where are you moving? Okay, why are you selling this property? Whatever, something around those lines. So if you don't know them, obviously if it's a stranger seller and they just said, hey, we're interviewing agents. So these are questions that you ask up front before you even get there. So this is why we call it a pre-qual, so that you can qualify them, so you know some of this information before you get there. So where are you moving? Why are you selling? Okay. So what if they say, I'm moving to Florida? What's another question we could ask? Because remember, we're going to be scuba diving with sellers just like we did with buyers. So what could be another question? We're moving to Florida.
How soon are you moving?
Love it. How soon do you need to be there? Right? That's actually the next question. What other question could you ask? How about what takes you to Florida?
Oh, that's true.
Right? What takes you to Florida? What about Florida making you want to move there? Oh, we have grandkids there. Now, do we have some high motivation?
Yes.
Great. How soon do you want to be living near your grandkids?
They'll probably say ASAP.
Right? So now we know motivation. And if they say ASAP, we know that we need to make sure we get them to price their property right and to have it in great condition, right?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Good. What takes you there? Okay, if they're not moving, let's say to another state, they're, you know, where are you moving to? Well, we want to stay in the area. Oh, great. Well, why are you selling this house? What, you know, what would be different in the next house you buy, or something like that?
Maybe they're looking for size.
Size, school district.
Yeah.
Right. Closer to work. So the deeper you go with these questions, do you see that you're going to find their motivation?
Yes.
Because if you just say, where are you moving? Florida. How soon do you need to be there? If you're just peppering them with, you know, one answer questions, then you're not going to get to the heart of that motivation of that seller. They say, if, you know, you ask, how soon do you need to be there? And they say ASAP. What does ASAP mean to you?
They're motivated.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I ask them. What does ASAP mean to you? Is that next month? Is that before Thanksgiving? Is that before Christmas? Is that before the new year? Is that before school gets out next year? Right? Because my idea of ASAP is tomorrow. Right? But their idea may be 3 months. So again, getting very specific and getting clarity on what your answer actually means is going to give you a lot more leverage to help them get where they want to go at the right price with the right condition. Okay. My other favorite question, what are your plans if the property does not sell? What if they say that's not an option? Again, hopefully I've gotten some motivational questions answered, and I'll say, okay, if that's not an option, then you agree that we need to price this house competitively and have it in great condition, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you're getting them to agree to what they want to do just by asking questions. Okay. And I love this. If you were a buyer looking to purchase your house today, what would you pay for it? And that's a good question to ask, and just be quiet. Let them think, because they're going to need a little time to think. So give them the silence. Give them the gift of that silence. Don't jump in. Let them think about it. There's power in that silence. Salespeople tend to want to fill every blank space with something, either writing or noise. So again, ask the question and just be silent. Give them that gift. Okay. Where do you see the power in this question?
It's going to make them realize that even though they want to ask $800,000 for the house, it's really not worth that.
Okay, so are we taking them from emotion to logic?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about with buyers last week, that emotion logic little play there. The first few questions are about emotion, right? Why are you selling? Where are you going? We're getting their deep emotional motivation. Now we're going to switch them to logic. Okay. How much do you currently owe on your property? Is this something that you ask your sellers currently?
Yes.
Okay. Why do we want to know that?
I think that helps us evaluate a fair price.
Right. And it lets us know, I don't know if you guys have had short sales in your area.
Mm-hmm.
Janet, you probably have. You've been in the business long enough.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So is that if they say, well, I owe this, and you're like, oh no, the market's not going to support, even breaking them even, that's a totally different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different conversation. So that's why these questions are important up front before you even get to that property to meet with them. Yep. Need to know if they're underwater. Can I break you even? Can the market support where you need to be to break even? Are we upside down? What are some ways that people get themselves upside down in their property? Like the most popular one?
Refinancing.
Refinancing and pulling out cash instead of just refinancing for an interest rate reduction or things like that. So that question is huge because that is going to guide your consultation when you get there. On what do they owe? Great, they have equity. Ooh, I hope I can break them even, or shoot, we're upside down. Those are three totally different conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And make sure, because some people will not just refi, but they'll take out a HELOC. They'll forget that they have that home equity line of credit. And when they sell, that needs to be paid off too. So you may need to ask, besides your current mortgage, do you have any other loans or liens against the property? right? Because we want to get a true picture of what it is that we have to help them pay off. That'll determine if they have equity, break even, or upside down. Okay. We're hoping we don't go into the crazy world of mass foreclosures and short sales again, right, Janet? But we need to be prepared for that, because some people, what I tell people, if they've taken out, if they've refied and take out a bunch of cash to pay off stuff, they've already sold their house to themselves. They already took their equity out. So they can't expect to get more equity if the market's not going to support it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? So if they've already pulled cash out on a refi, ouch. We've got to be really cognizant of that. I had one agent asked all the right questions. The seller swore they just had their mortgage. Well, unbeknownst to this poor widow, her husband had taken out a HELOC, home equity line of credit. It showed her signature, so she either just signed something because he told her to sign it, and then now she, at closing, or during the transaction process before closing, found out she was going to need to bring money to the table. Okay, so sometimes you may have these questions and these conversations up front and not get all the information because maybe that party doesn't know everything. Okay, so things happen. We just have to work through it. Okay, next question. Is anyone else involved in the selling decision? Why would we ask that?
Well, I had a situation where that did happen, where the wife put the house on the market, but the ex-husband was still on it, and it became an issue.
Yes, it did. Right. So who else is involved in the selling decision?
Whoever's on the deed.
Yep. And what if it's an elderly couple or a widow or somebody and her children are needing to be involved in the decision? It doesn't mean who can legally sell it. It means who else is going to have a say in this. So I asked this question. The next question is, okay, so you say just you. Does anyone else need to be at our consultation? Or if they say, yeah, my kids are, great. When we meet, I would like all decision makers to be there. Why would we want all decision makers to be there?
So that everybody agrees.
Right? So you're not talking to one person and then, oh, now you need to call this person, and then they're all talking and they're not getting the story straight. All decision makers need to be there. What I've done is if the kids are out of state or out of town, I've just put them on speakerphone. So I don't need them physically there, but I do need them there so that they can hear what's going on. I'm telling you, that single one thing, having all decision makers there at once, will save you so much time, headache, stress, and sometimes I'll show up to an appointment and be like, oh, my husband had to stay late at work. I'll reschedule. Or I'll be like, well, is he just like in a meeting? Or no, he's just at the office. Well, could he be on speakerphone with us? Right? Because now I'm going to have to do 2 consultations, because I'm going to do one with one person, go over everything. Yeah, we're all good. Then the husband calls with all these questions that you've already answered once. You answer them again, whatever. But it could be kids. If you have young buyers, their parents may be, or young sellers, their parents may be involved in the decision-making process. So make sure you ask that question. Okay. Another thing, one of the last things is I ask them to tell me about their upgrades. Updates, upgrades. Okay, and that's also one thing I take a little list here, but I also say, before, when we meet, could you have a list done up of all the upgrades you've done, the year you did them, if you replaced anything, put the year that you replaced it, so that I have that when I get there, because that's a great bit of information to forward on to the buyer so that they know, oh, the HVAC was replaced this year, the 2017, that's great, whatever. But that's part of their homework before I get there. Bedrooms, baths, garage, basement. So like when I'm doing my pre-research and talk to them, and my information says that they have 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I just clarify with them, okay, the information that I have shows that your home has 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. They're like, oh no, we have 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. Oh, so what'd you do? Did you finish the basement? Yeah, we added a bedroom and a bath. Right? I don't want to be surprised when I get there, because I'm going to use these numbers, right, to get some preliminary values put together. And if I'm valuing on a 3-bed, 2-bath, and they're really a 4-bed, 3-bath, I've just totally wasted my time. So just confirm number of beds, baths, 3-car, 2-car garage, basement, finished, unfinished, stone, whatever. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being your home is perfect, how would you rate it? If they say, oh, it's a 7, well, what would make it a 10? Well, we've always wanted to do this, Another really good scuba dive question. When I come over on Tuesday at 2, are you prepared to list with me at that time? What might they say?
Well, we're interviewing other agents.
Okay. So if you feel that you're ready to hire me when I'm there, will you list at that time, or will you still interview the other agents? Right? So again, ask more questions. If they say no, oh, okay, well, what would make you prepared to list with me when I come by Tuesday at 2? Again, we're always trying to find that little bit of motivation. What will make them act? Again, will all decision makers be present for the appointment? And then is there anything else I need to know to sell this property? Is it an estate? Is it income property? What more can you give me? Divorce? Much as those things aren't fun to talk about, when you're selling a house, they become a big issue. In Kansas, we're a community property state. So if I bought a house as a single person and then I got married and then we sold it, we'd both have to sell it, because now there's marital interest in that property. So when I got divorced, my husband and I, we had bought a house. I got to keep the house for a bit. And then when we went to sell, he'd already remarried. So all 3 of us had to sign, because now she had marital interest. That's fun.
Wow.
Not. So I don't know what kind of state you have, but hopefully it's not a marital interest state, because that is no fun. Okay. Are there any other questions you thought of as we went through this that you would want to ask? Maybe something specific to your area about the property, or... So again, you can use this as a template, tweak it, use what you want, don't add stuff, whatever, but we just like to give you a kind of a template so that you get your wheels turning to see what it is that you might be able to add in there. But if you have some local specific, things that you should ask your sellers, make sure you add those in there. Okay. Any questions on the pre-qual part? Typically, this takes about 10 minutes to run through. Okay. Then once I have this conversation and I know when my appointment is, then I'm going to do a pre-listing packet. Does anyone do a pre-listing packet right now? Janet, have you done that before?
In my old company.
Yeah. So you can put together a pre-listing packet that basically goes through, basically it's dropping off something or mailing something or emailing something that has kind of your credentials, your office credentials, all that stuff, so that they can review that up front. I also put in the seller's disclosure, the disclosure of property, can't remember what you guys call it again, so that they can start working on that. That's part of their homework. So their homework on the pre-listing is putting together a list of upgrades, any replacement items, what dates, what years, things like that, the disclosure of the property. I like to have them work on that up front, so if they have any questions, I can answer them when I get there.
The disclosure of the property. You're talking about the thing that goes about the house. They check off things. But over here, we usually tell them to talk to their lawyer about that, and they usually don't fill it out and give the $500 to the buyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we don't have them do that, because if they put something down and then it turns out to be wrong, they can be held accountable for it.
Okay, well, we have to disclose here, so that's cool. Okay, yeah, so whatever your practice is, right? Make sure that you do that. And then I have them put a list together of the 10 things I love about my house or neighborhood. Just so that I can kind of see what is it they love about this house, what is it they love about the area. That helps me kind of create in your MLS. Do you get to write a description of the property? Kind of, you know, here's the things that are great in here.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, great. Perfect. All right. So whatever you want to put in that pre-listing packet, email, mail, drop off, whatever. Okay. Typically, you're going to, let me unshare here. Typically, you're going to be meeting at their house, right? If you don't know them, this is one reason the pre-qual is so great, is because you're having a conversation. You're like, yeah, I'll just show up on Tuesday. You're getting some more information from them so that hopefully it's not a weird, a weirdo or a creeper, but just be safe. Just remember safety first. Again, like with the buyer, reviewing your right to represent, right? Going over that, making sure they understand that. Having them sign it. So when I get to the house, typically what I do is greet them, hey, find a place if we're going to sit at the dining table, and I'll set my stuff down and I'll ask them, do you have your upgrade and update list done? And do you have your 10 things that you love about your home or neighborhood done? And if they say, oh, no, we didn't do that, great, I'm going to give you some time to do that while I look at your house. What are they going to say? Well, we want to show it to you, right? They want to tour me around for 30 minutes. I've done it both ways, and I'm telling you, I just say, you know what, that's great, and I love that, and you're going to remember that list I needed you to prepare for me before I got here? I was going to take that around with me, so I need you to work on that now, and then I'm going to walk around, and I'm going to look at your house like a picky buyer. And right now, buyers are averaging about 10 minutes in a house if they don't love it. So I'm going to take 10 minutes and walk through your house like a picky buyer. And I'll have my notepad and I'll, take notes and everything. And then I'll compare my list to their list since they didn't prepare it yet. and see if I got everything that they wanted. And then I may have them say, I saw this over here. Could you come tell me a little bit about this? For time efficiency, it really helps if they're not showing you all the new baseboard that they put in, the crown molding. I can see all that, right? I'm looking at the big things. Does the furnace have rust running out of it? Well, there's a problem, you know, or, you know, just things like that. So I want to have the time by myself to look without them kind of walking me through the process. Now, again, there's a million ways to be a realtor. That's how I prefer to do it. Like I said, I've done it both ways. Kind of depends. I judge my audience. If they're going to get sticky with me and be like, no, we have to show you, then I'll let them go, right? I'll let them go with me. But I have a process and I'm a professional and this is how I run my business. And you didn't prepare for our meeting like I prepared. I asked you to be prepared, you know, in a nice way. So you can do it either way, whatever you're comfortable with, but try it once on your own, having them finish what they needed to do or give them something to keep them busy while you run through for 10 minutes. Okay. When you're a newer agent, you may want to go with them because they're going to point out things. Janet, us seasoned agents, I'm like, I just want to get in here, get out. I show houses all day. I list houses all day. I don't need you to give me a tour. So again, judge your audience. Wherever you're at in your career, you may want to tour with them, but know that you don't have to do that. I know agents who don't even meet them at their house and get the listing. How you say? They've sold enough houses, those people trusted them. I haven't done that one yet. That one I'm like, ooh, it gives me a little anxiety. I have to at least see the product I'm selling, right? Okay. All right, so with your sellers, when they receive the purchase offer, do they see that? Like when a buyer agent writes a purchase offer, because I know you have a purchase offer, then it goes to inspection, then it goes to contract, right? Kind of the steps there. Okay. So would the seller need to review that purchase contract blank just so they kind of see if they're a first-time seller or if they've never sold in New York? Would that be something that you would want to present to them and walk through with them? Just so that they're familiar with it like we did with the buyer.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yep, perfect. Okay. Just kind of my question because I'm not sure of all of your nuances there. Another thing that I go through, so I'm there, I walk through the house, and then we sit down. I've pre-qualified them with my phone call ahead of time. I've dropped off a pre-listing packet, and I'll ask them, do you have any questions at this point? They do. Go through your question and answer process. If they ask a question, sometimes you may need to ask another question to get more clarity. So in the beginning of my career, I just assumed I knew what they meant when they said something. That didn't always work out well. So if you need more clarity, ask another question. Or say, what do you mean by that? That's a great follow-on question, because if they say something and you're like, if you're thinking to yourself, what do they mean by that? Ask them, what do you mean by that? So that you're aware of exactly what they mean by that. So we're not getting things lost in translation. And then I will have put together a CMA or some sort of valuation for the property based on what I know. I haven't seen the property yet, so I'll do it based on what I know. And then once I get to the property, I do my tour. I may adjust my recommended price range one way or the other. Is it better than I thought? Is it the same? Or is it, oh my heck, we have a lot of work to do here? Or if they're selling as is, that's going to adjust the price. So in your pre-qual, you've already had some pricing conversations, right? You've asked some questions and they agreed that in order to get to Florida in 2 months, that we needed to price it right, competitively, and it needs to be in good condition, right? They already agreed to that. So when you say this is the price range, or this is the price that and I never say this is the price that I think your house needs to be listed at. The words I use is the market is telling us this is where buyers will buy your house. This is where we'll get the most showings. This is where we'll get the most activity. This is where we'll get, you know, our best shot at getting an offer. Jodi does not make that up. The market tells us, right? Well, we're the sellers and we get to name our price. Again, the market tells us, I would love to come in here and tell you that your house is going to sell for $800,000, and I'd love to list it at that price, but I don't just list houses. My job is to sell houses. So we can list it or we can sell it. Which would you like to do? What are they going to say? Sell it. Right? We want to sell it. Great. So then, like you agreed before, we need to list it at a great competitive price that the market is determining, and it needs to be in great condition. When you do that pre-qual up front and get their agreement on that before you even get there, it's powerful, it's strong. It puts you in a great position to help them get to where they want to go. My job is to sell your house for the most money that the market will bear in the fastest time. So the market is determining our price and how fast we sell. I am not, you are not, the market is. Right? Because in any market, I don't care if it's a buyer market or a seller market, who determines the market?
Buyer.
The buyer. The buyer every single time. In a buyer's market, what are they doing? Driving the prices down. In a seller's market, what are they doing? Driving the prices up.
Right.
Buyer is always in control. Poor sellers, no control over any of this, right? So we have to stay within what the market is telling us. I just interpret the market. I don't make the market. I don't set the market. I am interpreting the market. I'm doing my due diligence on seeing where are buyers buying, how fast are they buying, what are those properties look like. If you have a seller that's fighting you on price and there's other homes in that area for sale, you might want to take them on a little field trip to go look at those homes and ask them, how does your house compare to this house? Or show them one that's been on the market for a really long time, because you know as a market expert that it's overpriced. Okay, be prepared to handle those objections. Okay, but the market is determining the price. I'm not. That's not my job. I would put 500,000 on every house and hope, and if I could sell them all at 500,000, we'd all be in great shape. It's not how any of this works. Okay. So then we get the price set, we're good to go. Now I want to make sure I help them understand the showing process, how that works. You guys have a showing service, so let them know, hey, they're going to call you, whatever that process is. So go through that showing process so that they're not caught off guard and they understand that process. Through your showing service, so me as a buyer's agent, let's say, Janet, I show one of your properties. Does that showing service then email me for feedback, or how do you get feedback? It does?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so let them know that. So the showing process is, Mr. Seller, an agent will call the service. They will call you to get approval. Once you approve, they will come show. Now, my rule is, as the listing agent, I give that agent 24 hours to give us feedback. because we don't know how many other houses they're showing. They may be showing a house between, you know, other appointments or kid deals or whatever. So I give that agent 24 hours. So I'm not going to ask them for feedback until 24 hours. Sound fair, Mr. Seller? Yes. Because I don't want that seller calling me, texting me, emailing me 16 times all day. Do we have any feedback? 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 So set that expectation up front. I will reach out to them, rest assured. If I don't have feedback within 24 hours, I will reach out. Okay. I don't know if your agents are like our agents, but feedback is like pulling teeth around here. So I don't know what the malfunction is lately. It's crazy. But I set that expectation up front with my seller so they're not anxious and they're not making me anxious by emailing, texting me all day while I'm on other appointments. Make sense? Set that expectation up front. If you're going to do open house, you know, occasionally or on a regular basis, go over that process, however you determine your open house schedule. What does that look like? Right. Again, as agents, we're here to guide them through the process. Even if they've sold before, they've never sold with me, right? So I need to make sure that they understand the whole process up front. Are they going to remember it? No. However, I can be like, remember when we talked about XYZ? Oh yeah, I do. This is that time. This is what I meant, right? So you have a really good, you're building that trust and relationship that they will trust you to take them through the whole process. Okay, and again, having a packet, pre-listing packet ready to go, whether that's electronic, mail, drop off, whatever you want. You know, what do you want in there? What do you want them to know about you before you get there? Have a sheet in there that says the 10 things I love about our home and neighborhood. Just leave it blank. Have them write on it. Just give them a little piece of paper, right? Make it easy for them to go through the process. Okay. You may want to put some attorney lists in your packet. Like here, we use title and escrow. So we can let them know, hey, here's 3 escrow companies to choose from, title companies. Okay. What other processes in your area would you want to share with them at the listing appointment, at the consultation? Anything you can think of, Janet?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, open houses. Yeah, just that process. That's huge. I know some agents here are like, I just don't do open houses. Okay. Does your seller know that you're choosing not to do open houses? Well, they don't want to do open houses either. Yeah, because you told them you weren't doing any, right? So I don't know if you guys do, but typically on Tuesday we have what's called broker open or agent lunch.
We do that.
Perfect. Yeah, so doing something like that. It's hard for a seller to see us working because we do so much behind the scenes on listings, right? Buyers see us working because we're going around with them for hours. Sellers don't get to see us working. So open house is a visual, Jodi's actually working for me, right? Weekly updates with your sellers. Hey, this is what I did this week. I reached out to agents who've sold properties in your neighborhood before to see if they have any buyers. I sent it out to all of my database. You know, we have to remember with sellers that they don't get to see us working. Even though we're working hard, it looks like we're just putting a sign in the yard and taking it. Right? So show them what you're doing. Tell them what you're doing, right? walking them through the process, a weekly update or whatever that looks like. Every, hey, what's your communication plan? Set a communication plan with them so that they understand. You can say, I call all of my sellers on Mondays and Fridays. Monday's conversation will be what happened over the weekend, what properties went under contract, new listings that came on. If we had an open house, I'll give you feedback on Monday. Friday will be kind of a week in review. What happened during the week? Were there any other properties that went under contract, that went pending, that went active, that sold? So if you set up a communication plan and you tell them every Monday and Friday you will receive communication from me, either email, phone call, or text. How do you prefer me to communicate to you on Monday and Friday? Oh, just shoot us a text. Great. Can you email it? Yeah. Can you text and email? Sure. Can you call, text, and email? Sure. You know what? How do they want to be communicated with? I had one buyer that fired their agent because that agent would only text them. They would not talk to them on the phone. They would actually text her and say, will you call us? And she would text back and say, what can I do for you? And I'm like, what? So communicate with them how they want to be communicated with. Okay. And make sure you do that. So if you set a communication plan, I don't care what days, if it's 2 days, 1 day a week, whatever, Wednesday, tell them your communication plan. That way they can rest assured that they're going to hear from you Monday and Friday, unless there's any like urgent activity, like we got a purchase offer or something like that, right? Someone has a specific question. And this is managing your time and your clients, because that way then they're not calling you every single day or texting you every single day. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And if they start doing that, we teach people how to treat us, right? So if we say we're going to talk to them or communicate with them Monday and Friday, and we start answering all their texts all week, what have we just done? We've taught them that my communication plan doesn't even matter. I've now taught you how to treat me, and that's like, I'll just answer you whenever. It's hard, it's very difficult. And of course, if it's a pressing thing, like their house is on fire, tell them to call 911. But, if it's a true emergency or something, please take their call or text or whatever. But if they're just doing the, hey, what's going on? Great, I'll have more information. I don't have any information right now. I'll have more information for you on Friday. Whatever. Usually I just text mine Friday. And they're like, okay, right? Have some fun with it. But set a communication plan that you will stick to so that they understand that, yes, you're a professional and you will set some boundaries. People treat us how we teach them to. And if we're popping up, what I like to call a Pop-Tart agent, we're popping every single time someone says or does something, it gets exhausting. Exhausting. Protect your time. You are a professional. I don't get to call my dentist and say, I have to come in the next 5 minutes. I'll be there shortly. They're like, no, we'll see you in 3 weeks. Right? So no Pop-Tart agents. Be Pop-Tarting all over. Do you get my visual there? Pop-Tart. Awesome. So action items, get some packets put together, listing packets, pre-listing packets. Work on your pre-qual if you like those questions, or if you have other questions you want to put on there. That's your sheet. They don't see that. That's kind of your cheat sheet to keep your notes on. Sorry, my nose is itching so bad. Again, find somebody to role play a listing consultation with. We're going to add, our goal is to add 25 more contacts into command. And then completing your success tracker every day. And your week in review by Monday at 9. Okay. I'm going to get an aha from each of you, and then I'm going to let you go so you can get to the class. What'd you hear, learn, something that made sense that maybe you'll change in your business or you'll add to your business? Lay it on me.
I liked when you said, what if you were a buyer, what would you pay for your house? Taking them from the emotion to logic.
Right?
I love that too. I also loved having a pre-listing packet prepared so you're ready to go when they are.
Perfect. Love it. That's great. Yeah, just those little things, they're going to save you time, energy. You know, if someone told me, try these things now instead of 12 years into your business, it would have been a lot more enjoyable. Right? Because this is not for the weak. Being a realtor is not for the weak or the meek. I mean, there's a lot of work here and we deal with a lot of people. I just had a agent in Hawaii had posted that one of her sellers went off on her yesterday. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. We are professionals. And usually I've had sellers do that. And I'll be like, when you can speak to me in a proper manner, we will continue this conversation. I'm hanging up now. And I hang up because we do not, no, we're not a whipping post. So just know, and also always, always, if you're getting harassed or someone's being mean to you or ugly, get with your broker, okay? Our broker is amazing, and I'm just like, you know, especially when I was coaching agents, I'm like, this is above my pay grade. We're going to go to the broker with this because that's unacceptable. Yep. Meralda said she likes the idea to view houses without the owner and leave them something to fill out or read while I'm looking around. Yeah. I'm telling you, try it. It'll change your world. It will. Photography. I don't know if you use professional photographers, but you know, talk to your sellers about how that process works. Okay. Awesome. Any questions? Anything else you think I need to know or should hear from you today? Nope. Okay. So if you do have questions, I know both of you have been good at reaching out and emailing me. I totally love that because that means, that shows me that you're actually like working and taking what I say and doing something with it. It's not like I'm just talking to thin air. So I totally appreciate that. And want you to know that I appreciate your time that you spend with me. It really, doing this on Monday morning for me just jazzes me up for the whole week. So hope it gives you a little bit of energy and some motivation to get out there and just do it. Get out there and do it and have fun with it. Cutting a little short today because I want you guys to be able to hop into that command class because I know those are important for you. All right, if there's nothing else, I am going to sign off. I hope you all have a super fantastic and productive week. Get some production in and, excuse me, get that all put together. Get your stuff put together. I love that you're sending me what you're doing, so keep doing that.
All right.
Okay, guys. Have a great week.
Have a good week.
You're welcome.
Have a good week.
Thank you.